of Argyle and Lindale.
Really, I didn't want it to be about speed.
Pardon?
I didn't want this to be about speed. It's about safety. Speed is a separate issue, and the OPP, I'm sure, will deal with that at some point.
That's sort of getting to my question, and I recognize coming the other way, there's only the stop at Donnelly, obviously coming westbound. But when we talk about safety, the corner of Seiler, where Seiler comes out onto Lindale, has to be the absolute worst spot in an entire section of Lindale from Argyle to Ireland Road for a pedestrian to be crossing with the crest of the hill there just to the east. Like
May I answer that?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I live right in the middle, and I think they're both equally horrid. Because if you're down at the bottom, where Argyle and Wilson and Lindale all converge, you can't see the people coming around the bend. And I have seen it just yesterday. A woman and a kid halfway across the road, and a minivan comes. And yeah, they're not driving the speed limit, but even if they were, that lady's got to dash with the kid to make it across.
Mr. Chair, I would agree with this lady, absolutely. The solution isn't crossing at the corner of Argyle either. We did make improvements to that intersection 3 or 4 years ago when the new development went in at the Seiler property. So my question, Mr. Chair, is what's the solution? What would you like to see us consider? And again, you and I aren't traffic experts. You have a solution for us. You live there. You know it better than I do.
You know, I really don't.
No,
that's not my level of expertise. I'm a banker. I don't know anything about traffic. But what I do know, and I don't want the fact that I live in a body with a disability, I'm not coming here whining, oh, look, I'm disabled, give me special treatment.
No, you're not.
That's not it. I just have a gift of gab, and I'm using it for the benefit of the people who live in my neighborhood. And because as a Christian, I don't want to wait until somebody scraped into a garbage bag when I could have done something about it. We are our brother's keepers, and I'm here to be my brother's keeper. I don't know how you fix it.
Okay.
I really don't. All
Okay.
I know is that you have to.
Okay, and Mr. Chair, just a quick comment before I turn my microphone off, if I may. I pulled out of Summit Circle last night, left onto Lindale. Well, it's a little bit different than walking or crossing a road as a pedestrian, but that's one of the worst
Yes, it is.
exits onto a major road in the county, in my opinion. Similar as the Lindale-Argyle corner. You got to pay attention what's coming up Wilson Ave. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Oliver, then Brunton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mine is very quick. Have we as councillors received copies of the petition yet?
Yes, you did. Earlier this afternoon, I presented it to Miss Stephanie.
Well, then we don't have one yet as councillors. Okay, thank you. We'll get it, obviously, but
Yep.
I haven't seen it yet. That's my only point.
Okay, it's available.
Thank you. Yep, Councillor Brunton.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to make a recommendation that we forward it on to staff for a report. That's all I think we need. Thank you.
Let's have, if there's no other questions of the deputation, then I don't see any. Then, Councillor Brunton, how about a motion to receive the deputation as information first? Okay, and the seconder, Mayor Luke, those in favor? Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, Ms. Breen, for bringing this forward. And I believe that Councillor Brunton may put a motion on the floor to get some action from staff, I guess.
That's correct. Just forward to staff. I'm making.
Okay, Doug?
I made it. I just said that this referred to staff for a report.
Okay.
Period.
So
right.
Motion is to, and the seconder on that, Councillor Oliver. So the motion is to refer to staff for a report regarding the deputation and the safety of, the overall safety of that area. Any further comments? Seeing none, those in favor, and that is passed. Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to, let's see, what deputation are we moving to? Okay. Yeah. Jeff Sidway. You're up, Jeff, from the Lynn Valley Lions Club. And I guess the topic is a proposed Lynn Valley Lions PD 13 fundraiser. Jeff, like I've indicated to everyone else, 10 minutes, and I'll give you a 1-minute warning.
Don't even turn your timer on.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and Council, thank you for having me here today. I am Jeff Sidway, and I'm a member of the Lynn Valley Lions Club, and I'm also the property owner of the Highway 24 and 6 on the way to Port Dover, the old Wells Bait Shop, the halfway house, 2-acre commercial property. That is my property. So back in the fall, my Lions Club decided that we wanted to try to do a new fundraiser, and what we did is we came up with the idea of using the property to have a fundraiser for Friday the 13th. We were going to have one in April. Everything was set to go except for the weather wasn't very good in April, so we just canned it at the last minute. But we have things booked and everything like that. The staff had gone along with everything. It was everything was going to be passed. We're going to have just a breakfast in the morning, washrooms for free that people can just drop into. There's plenty of parking on the property. There's two acres out there. And then 2 weeks ago, the county staff came to us and said, we are not going to permit you to have a function out there because we do not have enough EMS or policing or anything like that to control the corner. We're concerned about traffic. So with that traffic concern, they're going to take the food and everything else away from us. So I've asked lots of questions at the time because I went in afterwards. There was another member that was handling this at first. And so if we had a certified kitchen or if we had a food trailer from, say, the Simcoe Lions Club or something that's approved by Norfolk County, then we could have a function out there without any permission required from the county. Or if I just want to keep washrooms, because we are planning on just having washrooms out there, we have to have free or whatever, we've already got them booked. So I went to staff, and I went to Marie, I believe is her name, and she heard the way that we had planned to do this, and she seems to be more willing to listen to the way we'd like to do it. We're going to have one entrance on Highway 6 and an exit on Highway 24. And with the way the traffic flows, if anybody has questions for me, there is zero problems there. Your problems are like St. John's and Highway 24, St. John's and Cockshut, St. John's and everything, where there's no real left-hand turns, right-hand, any of that kind of stuff. This is a pretty simple, everybody's going to be turning left to go into Dover. They're not going down to the Radical Road because that's a residents-only area. So the traffic is basically one way. We just want them in. We're going to put them out. We're going to sign it. And so that's what we're looking for. So I've been told to come to council, and we're here to ask for your help. We can theoretically run this without approval, but we just want to do this on our own. We want to have our own food. We want to have our own permission. She said at staff that if we want to run it on Thursday or if we want to run it on Saturday, there's no problem. The problem is Friday, which is kind of telling me that we shouldn't be looking at it this way. We should be looking at the fact that there is no issues, really. So I just need your help.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. And are there any questions from the committee members? Councillor Height.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. Is that property still zoned commercial?
Yes.
It could be, because it was, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, get Mayor Luke.
Through you to Mr. Sidway. Thank you, Mr. Chair. From your deputation through the chair, what you're saying is that the traffic that is going to Friday the 13th in July would be probably most, if not all of the traffic would be coming 24 south, making the left on Highway 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that they would come in off of 24, I think you said, and...
No, on Highway 6, where the halfway house used to be there. It's no longer there anymore.
But Wells, you said Wells is...
Yeah, that will be the exit. So there's two driveways to the property.
Okay, Mr. Chair, if he would just briefly explain the in and out there, because I'm thinking Wells is on the southeast corner of that intersection of 6 and 24. So I just assumed they'd be entering that property from the 24.
I see a map off in the distance. Would you like to
Sure.
hold the map up? Would that help?
Okay, that's going to help. I
There we
appreciate
go.
that.
Okay, so the property is up on the top. That's Radical Road. Turkey Point is up on the top right. Simcoe's down here in Port Dover. So when you come in, the entrance would be over where the halfway house used to be here. It's gone. There is an entrance that's there. And the exit over by the bait shop, exit it actually exits out right onto where the off-ramp is. So they don't even have to really get onto Highway 24. They can come out right onto the off-ramp.
Okay, Mr. Chair, just to finish, you're suggesting bikers will make the turn onto
They're
number
going to turn like
6.
that.
They'll turn in on the right lane into the property, and they will exit. You don't.
And then they're going to come this way and head into Dover.
Okay, and the signage will indicate that they're not to enter, to go past the intersection and turn there. Where Jeff has confused me, Mr. Chair, is when I was a kid, the halfway house was on the
other side.
north side.
The halfway house is about there.
I didn't know that Mr. Sidway moved it to the south side.
Yeah, well, you and me both.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The halfway house is no longer in existence. It's gone. Yeah.
Maybe that's the quarterway house. Councillor Oliver.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Jeff, my question, maybe you could hold the map up again. I guess I have two. First of all, from the, let's say, the edge of the traveled portion of the road at the intersection, how far to the east is the proposed entrance you're talking about? In other words, are vehicles just going to be nicely around the curve and suddenly they're going to have
maybe
to turn?
150 feet? But you got to remember, everybody's turning left to go here.
Yes.
There's so much traffic that you're not going to be ramping up speed to 50 or 100 kilometers an hour. You're going to be coming around that corner slow, and it's
Well,
and you got our plan is to have staff at this corner, staff at this corner, basically policing our own event. Because we're going to have to police it in here too.
I'm just not concerned with bikers the way they sometimes are.
Oh.
They may not be quite so slow as you're talking about, but obviously the further away from the intersection before you go in, the better.
Yeah.
And my second question, you're aware of what's in the staff report, which is recommendation against giving approval.
Yes.
Is what you're proposing now, was it part of what you have proposed to staff all along, or is this
That's
new
what-
information?
So, no, this is what we proposed to
Okay.
staff all the way along, and I just think that maybe they didn't quite understand the entrance-exit program that we had. And so when I re-talked to them last Tuesday or whatever it was, they seemed to be more receptive to this. And I said, we have washrooms booked, so I could put washrooms out there and police my washrooms and do whatever I want to do. I'm trying to get the county's support to make this work,
Right.
is what I'm doing. I don't need permission. I'm here to try to make it work.
When you said they were more receptive, who do you mean?
Marie, there was one I met with.
But not roads department staff
No,
necessarily?
she was representing all the roads, the
Okay.
police, the EMS, et cetera, et
All
cetera.
right, thank you.
And was there anyone else? Seeing no other questions, then I'd just say, thanks, Jeff. We're going to deal with this in the report right
Okay.
after. And I would look for a motion to receive the deputation as information. Councillor Wells, Councillor Height seconds it. Those in favor, and that's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. And I'm going to go immediately to the staff report. And I guess I was first looking at Lee, but I guess need to look over here. Shelley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The deputation has outlined the application that the Lynn Valley Lions Club has made to hold a biker pit stop traveling bicycle or motorcycle enthusiasts to the Friday the 13th related events. The deputation indicated that the pit stop would take place on Friday, July 13th at the corner of Highway 6 and Highway 24. As you've indicated in the report, due to safety concerns and emergency resource capacities with the date and location of the event, staff have recommended that the permits be denied. With any special event application, it is circulated to all agencies and all departments, and we received comments back about serious safety concerns with this proposed location. Mr. Sidway did indicate they were planning to hold an event in April. That April event is quite different than what is occurring in July on Friday the 13th. Although staff are recommending that the application be denied, departments and agencies have outlined their overwhelming support for charitable events and community groups such as the Lynn Valley Lions Club that benefit the residents of Norfolk County. And we've also indicated to both the former event organizer and in the report that staff will continue to work with groups such as the Lynn Valley Lions Club to assist with future special events. But staff would caution the seriousness of traffic incidents, the higher degree of risk with an event at this location. There would still be required permitting that's required from a licensing perspective, health unit permits, etc. And staff are recommending that this special event application be denied due to the safety concerns. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Councillor Height.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to staff. So basically we have two problems here. We have safety concerns and then the emergency resource capacity. So when I look at the safety concerns, it seems very similar to Highway 24 and Highway 3. If you had traffic coming down southbound on Highway 24, turned left onto Highway 3, and you could turn into that Wendy's parking lot immediately. And this is very similar, but really with less traffic.
Through the chair, we received very detailed comments from the OPP task force that's looking after the security and the traffic routing for Friday the 13th, as well as the new inspector. And they are cautioning very significantly that due to this event will cause tax on the resources and the traffic flow for emergency planning to Friday the 13th.
That must be some kind of pancake recipe they have if there's going to be biker fights for pancakes. Okay, so skip that. What about emergency resource? So you have Victoria Fire Hall, is that 10 minutes from this location?
Through the chair, it is my understanding as a member of the Friday the 13th Planning Committee that the EMS and the fire departments, and in their comments back with respect to this application, have emergency routes planned. And should there be a large emergency on Friday the 13th, this proposed event location will impact that time for emergency resources to get to the hospital, to travel, and back and forth. And it's right in the middle of all of their operational plans for Friday the 13th. I would also advise council, and I'm sure you're aware of, we are expecting our largest crowds in history to Friday the 13th. The number of about 150 to 160,000 individuals are being planned for, and resources at this time are being dedicated to the Friday the 13th event, and departments have cautioned about permitting another event in close proximity.
Okay, thank you for that. My last question is, how come we don't have those comments in our report? We have financial services comments.
Through the chair, we have summarized some of those in the body of the report, and you'll note in the consultation section of the report, it indicated that we've consulted with all of our departments and agencies. We have specific comments that we didn't feel were necessary to include in great detail because they all reiterate the same messaging.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything further from committee? Any questions, Councillor or Mayor Luke?
Yeah, thank you. And Shelley, thank you very much. I guess my first question would be here after reading the report. I would think that with the Friday the 13th event of this magnitude in Port Dover, that certainly when it comes to policing and EMS, the rest of the county is not going to be serviced with EMS or OPP as needed should an accident somewhere outside of Port Dover happen or someone has a heart attack. Is that a fair statement that the residents throughout the entire county still will have EMS and proper police servicing?
Through the chair, I can't speak specifically for the OPP, but they have the necessary plans in place to protect the county as well as dedicate any available officer in Port Dover for the large-scale event.
Thank you for that. And my last comment is that the OPP have indicated there are no additional policing resources to assist with this biker pit stop. And through the chair, I'm not aware that the OPP have additional resources for the Tim Hortons at Simcoe that sometimes has a couple hundred bikes in there during a big day on Friday the 13th, or down at the Tim's at Sobeys. Why specifically do we have to have police looking after this specific site that's really no different than any other eatery along the way? And Mr. Chair, through you to Shelley also, I'm not trying to second guess the OPP in any way, shape, or form, but I'm not sure why this specific place to stop and get something to eat is any different than any other one along the way through Norfolk County on a busy Friday the 13th. And certainly, this is still a fair distance outside of Port Dover. It's not, I don't know if Shelley wishes to comment on those questions or not. I know they're more OPP-oriented concerns, so if you can't answer them, that's fine.
Through the chair, with this particular file, they've requested a special event for approval by the county. It's not a regular business operation. It has not been factored into the emergency planning for the Friday the 13th events. So this is unique because they're requesting a special event permit, and so we have had to incorporate what their needs are and what they're planning at that event. And the OPP have indicated that they would require OPP assistance at that particular location. And oftentimes in special event applications, our agencies make comments, whether it's with respect to third-party security agencies or with additional paid duty officers or additional auxiliary staff to help at specific intersections. So oftentimes we'll have a special event that they'll manage roadways, and the OPP will make strongly suggest those requirements. And I believe the CAO would like to add some further comments.
Okay, CAO would like to make a few comments or advice, I guess.
In support of everything Ms. Darlington said, and to be abundantly clear, no one on staff takes any pleasure whatsoever in recommending denial of this application. It's by a very civic-minded group of individuals who want to take what looks like an excellent opportunity to raise funds for charitable purposes in this community. It's nothing but laudable. To be abundantly clear, no one enjoys being the wet blanket here. But your police service states categorically it does not have a single officer to send. Not one. You have united advice from fire, EMS, and police that this will cause problems and they cannot provide service. This is, and appreciate for a moment that the goal of the club is not to sell 10 pancakes to one hungry individual. If it were that, it wouldn't cause a significant impact. The goal is to sell as many as is humanly possible to as many people as is humanly possible, i.e. a fundamental change in traffic flow. If this council is seriously considering acting against the advice of fire, OPP, and EMS, then I strongly encourage one of you to bring a motion to go in closed session to receive legal advice from the county solicitor on the liability implications of acting against the united advice of fire, OPP, and EMS. In fact, I beseech you to bring that motion if this is where council is considering going. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question through you to Shelley. If we approve this event, do these people, the Lions Club, would they have insurance to name us additional insured, something along that line?
Through the chair, with any special event, there is required insurance provisions for Norfolk County.
Are we named as additional insured in that policy?
That is correct.
Okay, so the onus then falls on them, the way I understand it, for safety.
For up until a certain amount on the insurance certificate, and then we will also be party to that claim if such claim arises.
What do we ask for? A couple million or?
Standard is $2 million. Depending on the event, we go up as high as $5 million.
Okay, but on, okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Oliver.
Very much, Mr. Chairman. It's just a little bit unfortunate, in my opinion, that the staff report sort of seemed to take the tack that it did when it seems to be putting the emphasis on needing to have resources available to this and resources not being available. I've got my Google map in front of me, and I'm sure if all of my colleagues had the benefit, and Clark tried to do it for me, and we've got our map instead of Google map, but the actual air photo of the site, Mr. Chairman, shows that in my opinion, that is a very dangerous location to be having motorcycles who are either coming from southbound 24 east on number 6 or northbound 24 east on number 6, and then immediately being encouraged to stop and pull into a driveway when I'm still in the merge lane. That's a very, very unsafe location, in my opinion, and I suspect that's where our OPP have been coming from. So as much as I think it's a great idea, I happen to think it is too dangerous to allow that kind of an event at that location, just on the merits of the air photo that I'm sitting here looking at.
So were you putting a motion forward?
Well, if you're ready for a motion at this point, Mr. Chair, I will move the recommendation in the staff report.
Okay.
With reluctance, but that's my recommendation.
Yeah. So is there a seconder for the recommendation in the staff report? Councillor Sonnenberg, and that is to receive the report as information that the special event approvals and associated permits related to this application be denied due to safety concerns and emergency resource capacity. Is open for comments and debate discussion. Anything further from committee? Seeing none. Those in favor of the recommendation on the floor, the motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those opposed. That's 1, 2, 3. So that motion is carried. Okay, thank you. And we're going to move on to our next deputation, which is the addition. And Karen. Okay, and okay. I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name, Karen, but and I think you are here to discuss, is it the Port Ryerson Road speed situation? Yeah. And as I've indicated to everyone else, you have 10 minutes, and I'll give you a 1-minute warning.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here, Karen.
Thank you. Let me start by showing you a picture of my family, which is vital to why I'm here. Thank you for hearing me today. Let me say, as any mother, the things that I ask for are not unreasonable for the safety of any child, dog, or person. If any of these requests slow down only one vehicle or motorcycle, then we have potentially saved the life of a child, person, or animal. You are now hopefully aware that there is an extreme problem on Port Ryerson Road. If not, I hope you'll understand by the end of my deputation. My road is an access to the beach of Port Ryerson, Turkey Point, many other beaches along Lake Erie, and my house happens to be the first on Port Ryerson Road on the west side of Port Ryerson. I have 4 special needs boys who are rather rambunctious and very curious and excited, especially about tractors and motorbikes passing by at ridiculous speeds. We were aware from the first summer 2 years ago when we moved in that this was going to be a big problem. This year to be the worst yet. I usually have the children camping for the summer, but we will be home a lot this year. I realized that I should have voiced my concerns and have my requests put into place much, much sooner than everyone on my road. After several phone calls and being always directed to someone else, this has become my dedication to resolve for the safety of my children and others on our road. The speed in which the traffic moves in front of my home is so dangerous, at times the vehicles or motorcycles can blow your ears out, they're going so fast. Occasionally I put large pink Bristol boards out with great big letters saying slow down. I'm often flipped off, and sometimes they slow down. It is not often that someone has reduced the speed to the posted 50 kilometers in the middle of the field or farm just before my home. On Friday the 13th, we are so close to Dover that we will get many bikes going to our beach. This is the most dangerous time of all. On these days, there will not be enough OPP to cover my area. I've asked several times to have police presence for the road. I have a deputation on the 25th, next police board meeting, to talk about the monitoring of the road. The police have placed a monitor at my home and found that there is definitely a problem, and their test was done during the week. I understand that there is to be another test on the weekend. Hope it was this past one. Have several major burnouts. This will show far more than the weak monitoring has. I'm told that there will be more police presence when available. When available is the key word. Our police force, the OPP in Norfolk County, do not have the resources to have officers monitor my road very often. If often enough, the local people might learn to slow down, seeing the police on a regular basis, but the occasional once or twice a year person will not know to speed just as badly as they choose. I am so concerned at this point that someone may be killed on this road. Not only my children, but anyone crossing is at risk. There is a slight hill at the farm, making it difficult to see vehicles. This is not just an occasional problem, it is a daily issue. I have children that can never ride a bike, walk a dog, cross safely to the neighbors, etc. Pulling out of our driveways is even difficult. If someone is coming just up, beginning the incline at ridiculous speed, we could be hit. There have been several close calls. The hill over our little river conservation area has an even worse hill to see over. There are many deer, raccoons, also making the fast speeds dangerous. I have a petition, nearly unanimous, showing neighbor support for all of my requests to be carried out. Most have lived here many years, knowing this has a massive problem, but have not done anything about it because their children are grown now and might not have time or energy to come to you with these issues. Many are worn out over the fight of the windmills. I'm requesting a reduction of speed at Radical Road from 80 to 60 south to the Port Ryerson sign, and then from the field just before property 39 Ryerson Road, which is mine, a reduction of 50 to 40 to the end at the stop sign. I request a children at play will also help stop some. Another thought would be a camera. I believe that there are posted warning signs, but the ones that don't care will blow through anyway, and another road sign, making it a community safety zone's fines doubled. These ideas could make the county quite a bit of money. This would be good for all to have more funding available. There is one neighbor that reminded me we need a no passing sign for the entire road. There are some that pass, the few going slowly. Some pass right at the end below the stop sign. At these signs will reduce some. There are people who do not care about posted signs. Without a speed bump, there will be the idiots who will be speeding, some at extremely high speeds. A speed bump will stop all. Everyone has to slow down for a speed bump. You can't go over it quickly. In all, it is necessary for all of my requests to be put into place. I have been told that Norfolk County does not support speed bumps. However, it will stop all. These requests need to be seriously considered before July 13th, as we will face a massive problem. Do you think you might think of these things after someone is killed? Waiting for the inevitable to happen to do something is not the way to handle it. Then it is too late for that person. That person or persons injured or worse killed might have had no value to you. To the family, likely mine, they meant everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen, for bringing that to our attention. Are there any questions from committee members? Councillor Oliver?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Karen, for coming. I encouraged Karen actually to sample her neighbors, everyone up and down the street, to see if there was support. Karen, can you tell us, you said almost unanimous, how many residents who front onto the Port Ryerson Road south of the Radical and north of the stop sign are there?
Oh, I didn't count. There are 1, 2. Some of these are signatures from wife and husband, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 17 signatures, one from a family who was visiting and said, yeah, we'll sign your petition.
Okay.
So that's everyone. On from Port Ryerson sign to the stop sign to the end, everyone.
Did you sample right out to Radical Road as well?
I did.
Okay. I think I'm looking at the air photo, and I think there's only about 12 separate driveways, so to speak, that come out. So if you've got 17,
Sounds about right.
17 signatures, that would be close to all of them. And how many did you say either you couldn't get or didn't wish to sign?
I didn't get anyone home at number 80. The Cooks Unfortunately, her husband passed away, and she's living in Jarvis with her son.
So that residence is not occupied, in
right.
other words. Yeah.
And then there is a woman who told me she trained her children properly.
Okay.
And but this isn't
only,
just about my children.
Only two, in other words, that either
only
refused
one that refused.
Or weren't available.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from committee members? Seeing none, I'd say thank you for your deputation, and you can take your seat. We need to receive this deputation. Councillor Oliver moves and Councillor Sonnenberg seconds. Those in favor, and that's carried. Is there any action from this? Councillor Oliver, staff report? Or
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will mention, and the deputation did say this, the mayor and I are aware of the fact that Ms. D'Agostino will be coming to the Police Service Board next week, Monday, as a deputation, and she was correct. The Speed Spy unit was deployed during the week, and I've requested that it be redeployed on a weekend as well. But Ms. D'Agostino did indicate to me, and she told us this afternoon as well, that she's been told at least that there was sufficient speeding recorded by the Speed Spy unit that the OPP will probably be recommending to the board that we have a focus patrol in that area. That's our standard response. So I only bring all of that forward for council's benefit, but I do have a question, if we could, Mr. Chair, to Lee, Ms. Robinson. Lee, would a children playing sign, is that something we could direct be done, if you like, without any necessity for bylaw amendments and it's so on and so forth? That's less complicated than a speed limit change, is that not correct?
Through the chairman to council, to be clear, the signs that we usually associate with children playing on the road, sort of looks like that child that's going to
kicking the ball or something.
Yes.
Yep.
Actually, under the traffic manual, that's actually a sign that basically says park ahead. So it's not something that we would want to install on a new installation. That being said, we could certainly do up a sign with wording about, children in the area or something.
Caution children ahead or something.
But to be clear, we would not want to implement that sign because
right.
That's not actually what it, although that's how people interpret it, it's not actually the legal meaning of it. That is not a regulatory sign, so that is something that we could implement without a bylaw if council is desirous to do so.
All right. But if council were to request that we investigate a speed limit change, just as we've heard earlier from the CAO on other matters, that's not something we could legally implement between now and Friday the 13th, given the fact that it's got to be a bylaw amendment and it has to be public notice. Is that correct? Or?
That is correct.
Okay.
That would be, it's too short of a time period to be able to implement that in time for Friday the 13th.
All right. In that light, then, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to put forward a motion if I could, and that would be that council and committee direct that an appropriate caution child ahead or children ahead signage be placed on southbound Port Ryerson Road prior to the village as per the request. And secondly, that we request staff to investigate as soon as possible a speed reduction for that stretch of road as they may deem appropriate.
Okay, and Councillor Wells, I see is seconded, and Councillor Height.
Just a question to staff. Through you, Mr. Chair, to Public Works. I've noticed that in my area, people get their own signs with children playing, and I believe the City of Toronto offers a bunch of them for cheap, or is there another place that you can get them? Because at council, I don't know that we want to start getting in the sign business. I know we were in Long Point there for a while, but we've gotten away from that.
Through the chairman to council, there's certainly a huge variety of those signs available publicly from a variety of different places. They don't necessarily have to be regulatory signs, and they're certainly available in a lot of different places.
And I also remember Public Works is working on speeds for all of the hamlets in Norfolk County, and they're threatening to bring a report at some point. Do we know when that report will be coming?
Through the chairman to council, we were hopeful that you would have had it already. Unfortunately, we've had a few situations of prize that have taken up a variety of staff's time. So it's been put on the back burner, but we're very hopeful that we'll get it to you as soon as possible.
This year?
That is the goal, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further on the motion? Those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Moving on to our last deputation for this session, Mr. Peter Greger. And this is in regards to the Waterford Community Phase 2 Construction Traffic Control Plan alternate access. And I will say to you, as I have said to everyone, you have 10 minutes, and I'll give you a 1 minute warning. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to committee. I appreciate the opportunity to appear on short notice. We did submit a letter earlier, and I know copies were put on each of your station. This is with regards to the Wellings of Waterford, our seniors housing development that we built quite a few years ago, our Phase 1. It's been very well received. Phase 1 is full occupancy, and we've had a waiting list for a while, and so now we're moving into doing our Phase 2. And we modified some of the designs, and you'll be aware that we've gone through a site plan amendment process. The site plan is now all signed. It's coming back actually this week with our with the security and everything with regards to this development. But it's nice to see that we're able to address the needs of seniors in Norfolk County, and we have such a long waiting list for, there's 15 units we want to get started shortly, and I think if not all of them, I think it's 13 of them are already spoken for. So we're eager to get going. One of the things that did come about was that in working through getting our construction process ready, we realized that there is a road access that comes into the water tower property that's right next to our property. And talking to contractors, they agreed that that would make a much safer approach for vehicles. And so we went through the process. We're looking at upgrading, putting better granular gravel down to improve the actual driveway coming in, but following the exact same path to the gate. And what I've also included in front of you today with this letter was that we circulated through the local community, and there's 42 people, neighbors in our community there that have signed in agreement with what we're proposing. When we showed them, there's the third page of that letter has a bit of a map or an aerial view that shows how simple the route coming in would be if we use the water tower access. And it really prevents a lot of traffic in front of the majority of the houses in the immediate neighborhood. So what we're asking for today is permission from committee and council for us to use this as a temporary construction access. Our process will be that we will work with Public Works. We do traffic management plans. This isn't to do with the traffic coming down the main street. This is just accessing will be simpler this way. Our civil contractor that we bring on board would have to make sure that anything that's going to affect traffic on the neighboring streets, they will work with Public Works on that to make sure that it follows the proper procedures. So we're looking for permission to use it as a temporary access. Once we're done, we will remove we'll put in a gate, so we do secure the property every night. There'll be a gate to our property, so we'll be securing the current gate and the opposite side. And at the end, when we're done our construction, we'll remove the gate on our property and put the fence back into good condition.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from committee members? Mayor Luke?
Thank you very much, Chairman Black, and Peter, thank you for being here with your deputation. I just have a question, and I want to just specifically talk about the second phase, yes. Phase 2. What is the duration, roughly, from start to finish of Phase 2? Will it be started this year and finished this year? Do you know how many months, weeks, roughly?
We're looking at building the first 3 blocks of units this year. There's a total of 9 blocks. So the anticipation is the way that they've been leasing out, that we anticipate next spring we would start the rest. And so by the end of next year we'd be done all the construction. That would be the target.
So, Mr. Chair, another way to ask the question through you to the deputation is this year, if this was considered and approved, how long would you see that road being used, let's say for 2018?
So we use it through 2018 into 2019.
So you'll be going through it in January as well, in February?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's start.
Okay, anything further from the committee? I don't see any other questions, so thank you for the deputation, and you may take your seat. I'd ask for a mover, Councillor Wells, to receive the deputation as information, seconded by Councillor Height. Any comments? Seeing none, those in favor, and carried. Is there any action coming out of this deputation? Mayor Luke?
Mr. Chair, I would like to put a motion on the floor that permission be granted for use of this access to the project via this roadway for phase 2.
Okay. Is there a seconder for that motion? And Councillor Geisens. And speaking to the motion, Mayor Luke.
Well, Mr. Chair, the reason I support this, and I have a letter here, and I also have an email, I believe, it's not with me, that I did receive from a couple neighbors, and certainly another email with the 2 doctors located at the corner that occupy the medical center, and their objection to allowing this happen. And I respect that. I understand that. Mr. Chair, a lot of our subdivisions that are developed, I constantly get complaints, and I'm still getting them this year, as I have other years, with construction vehicles going through subdivisions with mud on rainy days being brought out onto the streets. I get those complaints, particularly at Harvest Glen. So at the Simcoe on the east side, on the north side of number 6 highway at the east end of Port Dover, and they continue. And it's a part of development. You move into your beautiful home, and sure enough, in the spring, now comes the next phase. So I understand those complaints. Here we have a situation where, yes, there are probably 3, maybe 4 properties that will see from time to time vehicles and construction equipment and supplies delivered to the rear of their properties. Yes. But at the same time, there are a number of residents in those 3 streets, 4 streets off of Highway 24 North that will not have to experience this. The ones that are objecting to it, they're going to experience the traffic flow and the mud and the dust in their front yards anyhow. This is removing it behind their backyards. Not, you know, this is good that we'll get a county road, perhaps our laneway, some money spent to improve it, but that's not the real benefit that I see in this. Currently, this road is used by private contractors to come in to fill water trucks through you to Lee Robinson, just so I'm not making this up. Is that a fair statement?
Through the chairman to council, it's used by county staff to do work at the tower. Our bulk fill station in Waterford is actually on the other side of the Deer Park.
On the other side, okay, sorry. So we just have our own maintenance truck that uses from time to time. I apologize for that. I just assumed they came in that entrance to access the water, and they do not, so I apologize for that. So, Mr. Chair, I think that I will support, I will support phase 2. Beyond that, we can always reconsider any future development, but I think this is a good way to bring materials and equipment in and out in the building season rather than through the front door. But this is, yes, it is affecting a few properties in their backyard, no question. Thank you.
Anything further on the motion? Councillor Brunton.
I just wondered, Mr. Chairman, if I may, through you to Lee, this change, or whatever you want to call it, Lee, is it, and maybe to Shelley also, do we have coverage with this contractor or owner or subdivision subdivider that we're covered insurance-wise? Can somebody answer that question?
Lee?
Through the chairman to council, should council permit this to happen, we'll enter into an agreement with them to allow them to do this access and restoration and all of that sort of stuff. And all of the insurance and all of the securities and stuff will all be covered off through that agreement. So that will all be addressed as part of the agreement if council is desirous of permitting the agreement.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further? Okay, do you understand the motion? Would you like to read the motion again?
Through the chair, that permission be granted to the Nautical Land Group for use of Sovereign Street, straight down the water tower access road to enter the construction development area for phase 2 of this project.
Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay. I think, Council, we're going to take a brief break and then we'll come back to finish our agenda. So I think, yeah, I guess about 20 minutes for those of us sitting in the audience.
On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dog